I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, April the 22nd, 2014. Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas has said that the Palestinians would extend negotiations with Israel by 9 months on the condition that Israel agrees to begin discussing the borders of the future Palestinian state within 3 months, and that during that time Israel will freeze all settlement construction. In a special press conference with Israeli journalists in Ramallah this afternoon, Abbas said, "If Israel believes in the two-state solution, let us define the borders where Israel will be and where Palestinians will be." The Times of Israel reports that Abbas also told the reporters that he did not agree to Israel's reported demand to deport some of the Palestinian security prisoners, part of the fourth batch scheduled for release by Israel, apparently referring to those among those prisoners who are Israeli Arabs. In addressing recent unilateral actions by the PA, Abbas said, "We do not want to isolate Israel, nor do we want to alienate it from its immediate surroundings." Abbas said, "We want to end a painful episode in the history of our nations and turn a new leaf." According to the Times of Israel report, Abbas also said that if negotiations with Israel fail, the PA will collapse and Israel will be forced to reclaim responsibility for all aspects of Palestinian civil life in the West Bank, as it did before the 1993 Oslo Accords. He also said that regardless of the outcome of talks, security coordination with Israel would continue. Meanwhile, Chief Palestinian negotiator Saeb Erekat denied that the Palestinians were considering dismantling the Palestinian Authority. Erekat told French news agency AFP today that no Palestinian is speaking of an initiative to dismantle the Palestinian Authority. He said, but Israel's actions have annulled all the legal, political, security, economic, and operational aspects of the prerogatives of the Palestinian Authority. Erekat's comments come after reports this weekend that Abbas might consider the move of dismantling, and even that the Palestinians warned U.S. peace envoy and mediator Martin Indyk about the possibility. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responded to the reports. He told the crowd at a celebration marking the end of the Passover holiday yesterday, "Today we saw the Palestinian Authority speak of dismantling itself and also talking about unity with Hamas." He said they should decide either dissolve or enter into a union with Hamas. When they want peace, they should let us know, because we want a genuine peace. And U.S. State Department spokesperson Jen Psaki also reacted to the reports about the PA. She said yesterday that such an extreme measure referring to the dismantling would have implications, referring apparently to financial ones as well as others.
That we're aware, of course, of these reports and comments. That type of extreme step would obviously have grave implications. A great deal of effort has gone into building Palestinian institutions by Palestinians as well as the international community, and it would certainly not be in the interest of the Palestinian people for all of that to be lost. The United States has put millions of dollars into this effort. It would obviously have very serious implications for our relationship, including our assistance going forward. And as I just noted, of course, the parties are continuing to work to find the basis for extending the negotiations. Ambassador Indyk is there to help facilitate that, and that's where our focus is. Unfortunately, developments over the last month made it necessary to find a new formula or mechanism to move it forward. But we would hope that the parties can reach agreement as soon as possible. As long as they want to find a way to continue the negotiations, we're willing to help them do that.
She said that U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry had no plans at the moment to return to the region, but that they were keeping an eye on the situation and taking things one day at a time. And Jerusalem Post reports that Palestinian President Abbas met with American Rabbi Mark Schneier, where he reportedly acknowledged the tragedy of the Holocaust. According to Schneier, who is founder of the Jewish-Muslim interfaith group, the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding, Abbas agreed to make a public declaration on behalf of Holocaust remembrance efforts around the world. Schneier and Abbas met in Ramallah on Sunday, where Abbas reportedly told the rabbi that the Holocaust was the, quote, single greatest tragedy in modern-day history, and also told Schneier that remembrance should be an issue of increased concern to both Jews and Muslims. The PA has been accused in the past of distorting the Holocaust. According to Schneier, Abbas also said that he would speak out against the banning of rituals like circumcision and ritual slaughter in Europe. Schneier's group works to build bridges between Jewish and Muslim communities in the U.S. and Europe. And he said that the organization has also recently begun forming committees of Muslim and Jewish leaders in order to quickly respond to issues like circumcision and ritual slaughter, bans which are of importance to both Jews and Muslims. The mayor of Marionville, Missouri, which is the adopted hometown of Kansas shooter Frazier Glenn Miller, resigned yesterday after facing pressure from anti-Semitic statements that he had made. Mayor Dan Clevenger made statements in the wake of Miller's arrest last week after Miller shot and killed 3 people in Kansas, 2 outside a Jewish community center and 1 outside a Jewish retirement community. Miller is a known racist and anti-Semite. He was charged with a hate crime for the deaths. Shortly after his arrest, Clevenger said he kind of agreed with some of Miller's anti-Semitic opinions. A board of aldermen in the town had voted to begin impeachment proceedings against the mayor after residents voiced their protest. Clevenger then handed in his resignation. It goes into effect this morning. Leaders from the American Jewish Committee wrapped up a 3-day visit and fact-finding mission in Ukraine today. As we reported to you, the 5-member delegation met yesterday with Ukrainian Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk, as well as meeting with the country's Chief of Security Services, its Deputy Foreign Minister, and with U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine Jeffrey Pyatt and Israeli Deputy Ambassador to Ukraine Yitzhak Carmel Kagan. The group also held meetings with leaders of the Euro-Asian Jewish Congress, as well as with members of the Ukrainian Jewish Committee. AJC Executive Director David Harris said the AJC has long supported the Ukraine as a free and independent country. He also said that in meetings, government officials unequivocally condemned recent reports of anti-Semitism, a synagogue that was firebombed in Nikolaev, Ukraine this past Saturday, and anti-Semitic leaflets that were handed out in Donetsk last week. Harris said the current Ukrainian government stressed to us its commitment to combating anti-Semitism and all forms of racism and xenophobia. He said there is real concern about the dangers posed by outside provocateurs playing the anti-Semitism card, and also about far-right ultranationalist groups in Ukraine. In response, Harris said, "We were told the clear message from the government is that acts of anti-Semitism are intolerable, are contrary to the new Ukraine, and will not go unpunished." Looking at some entertainment news now, Ynet reports that 2 Israeli films will be screened at the Cannes Film Festival next month. The 2 films selected will be part of the International Film Festival's Critics' Week sidebar in May. They are The Kindergarten Teacher, directed by Nadav Lapid, and Self-Made, directed by Shira Geffen. The Kindergarten Teacher is an Israeli-French co-production. It was produced as part of the Jerusalem International Film Lab and tells about an educator and a gifted child poet. Cannes artistic director Charles Tesson, who made the selections, said the film presents an uncompromising portrait of Israel. The second film, Self-Made, follows 2 women, one Israeli and one Palestinian, on both sides of the Green Line. And turning now to our Shalom TV programming for tonight, Tuesday, April the 22nd. At 6:30, conversations from the recent Jerusalem Post conference with Jerusalem Mayor Nir Barkat and Jerusalem Post Deputy Managing Editor Carolyn Glick. Then at 8:15, Director of the Pardes Institute Daniel Roth talks about reconciling identity conflicts in text and society from the recent Limud conference. And then at 9 o'clock, senior writer for Facing History and Ourselves, Phyllis Goldstein, joins Mark Golub on L'chaim to talk about anti-Semitism since the time of Abraham, as chronicled in her comprehensive book, A Convenient Hatred. That's all coming up tonight here on Shalom TV and ShalomTV.com. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, April the 22nd, 2014. I'm Teisha Bader.